Hey folks, welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning follower, awesome. My history, folks, for basically creating this channel was to share my passion and obsession, as I was told by a follower, for model aviation, but it's also full-scale aviation. What I do for a living is I basically help develop automation for the theater industry. Well, we call it the theater/entertainment industry. But I'm a complete nerd, and I've been that way since 1977 when I started first flying model airplanes. So I am a boomer. I'm a very old relic. But folks, my passion has been with building giant scale airplanes. I had the MSL-1, which was a 197-inch wing. Had the MSL-2, which was a 188-inch wing. Got my OV-10 here, which is a 108-inch wing. And what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to talk about common sense things to be a better RC pilot while I'm changing a motor, or at least inspecting my number 2 motor on my OV-10. Not sure if you can hear this. That ain't right. So, folks, I love this airplane, and I'm just flying the crap out of it. It's Hangar 9 hit a home run when they made this airplane. It flies almost like a trainer. It's beautiful from the sky. It's a showstopper. Everybody just loves it. I 3D printed my own bombs and missile pods. The center line fuel tank comes on it. But I noticed last week when I turned the motor on the number 1 motor, when I turned it, it turned really, really free. And when I turn this motor, it just stops. That ain't normal. So I thought, okay, these motors are old, but they've not been run a lot. So I thought, okay, maybe the bearings are a little bit gummed up or something. So as I flew it, I started hearing a little bit of a noise. And normally that noise is a bearing. On these Hackers, there is a front main motor bearing, but there's also a bearing on the back. So the motor is suspended by the front of the motor case. The reason Hacker wanted you to put this rear bearing on is if you're doing 3D and aerobatics, the gyroscopic forces won't bend the motor mount. Technically, I've been told I don't need this back bearing, but out of paranoia, I always put it in. I am keeping my fingers crossed that it's just the back bearing on this, because honestly, folks, I don't think that back bearing is as good as quality as the main motor bearing. So, but I want to go through my list while I'm going to change out the motor, or at least inspect the bearing. So I have a top 10 list of becoming a better pilot, okay? And folks, your mileage is going to vary. In this world of rage, everybody wants to disagree with everybody. That's the reason I never allow politics or religion on any of my social media platforms. There's just no time for it. I'm here to try to help you learn more about model aviation, and I'm also here to have some fun, okay? And folks, I know I'm a little bit wonky and weird, but that's just who I am, okay? Number 1, respect the field rules. They're not suggestions. Most clubs follow AMA. If you're an AMA basher, I kind of get it, but I'm actually a lifetime member of the AMA, so I really love what the AMA is doing. So I think one of the biggest problems is you don't understand how much the AMA does in the background to work with Congress, to work with lawmakers, to work with everybody, to make sure we at least have some control of model aviation. Okay, you know, anytime something becomes a subject on mainstream news or fake news or whatever you want to call it, everybody thinks the sky's falling. I did a video on lipos just the other day and had somebody respond to it who I think clearly didn't even watch the video. They saw the word electric and they went into that rage like, oh, it's going to burn down your house. And folks, I have a video coming. Stay tuned. It's the top 10 reasons your house catch on fire. I'm going to start at number 10 and count all the way down to 1. And where do you think lipo from model airplanes come in that top 10 list? Follow me, subscribe. Oh, and another thing, folks, please. There's a thing called a hype. You can hype my video. I'm really trying to grow my channel so I can pay for the hobby. And if you hype my video, it really helps the YouTube algorithms understand that I'm trying to reach RC people like you, or aviators like you, or just people who are geeks and nerds, okay? And folks, when somebody calls me a geek, it's a compliment. I love it. So number 1, respect the field rules. Clubs and AMA rules exist for a reason. Folks, I had somebody say, I can't believe you fly giant scale. Do you know how dangerous that is? And I go, what do you mean? Well, what if you hit somebody? Folks, I saw a little 4-pound airplane that would go 150 mile an hour. You think if that hits you in the head, it's not going to completely blow your brains out? So folks, it's not just size that matters, it's speed that matters. It's inertia. It's the forces that are going to be used to try to stop an object that's already in motion. So, and there are tens of thousands of people flying every weekend, and we don't have a lot of fatalities, and that's because we do follow some basic rules, okay? So that's number one. But what I'm going to do first is start working on the Bronco for a minute. So, folks, one of the things I absolutely love about this airplane, and if you're going to buy one, number one, it's not cheap. Number two, this plane has 16 servos in it. So you're going to have the radio system and understanding what you're going to do. Oh, another thing, anytime you're working on your airplane, have a little parts tray. You can put all your parts in here. You can 3D print this. I think this is in the free part of my website, dagsdesign.com. You can go there, download this STL, and print it. But it's a really kick-ass little parts holder. But you know, folks, one of the neat things about this airplane is it's got a big-ass wing. And the cube wing loading is just at the middle of like a sports trainer. Though it is a complex airplane. It's a twin-engine airplane. You're going to have to understand how to program your radio. It does have retracts. It does have retract doors. It is what I call a complex airplane. But it flies virtually like a trainer. Okay? So, and folks, one of the things I try to never do with my model airplanes is if I think I've got an issue coming up, I kind of bench it. I quit flying the airplane. And I don't want to take the chance because I absolutely pre-flight every airplane, which is number 2 on my list. Do a pre-flight check every time you fly. Loose screws, frayed servo wires, reverse controls, tiny issues on the bench can become disasters in the air. Wiggle everything before you take off. And what I mean by that is in your mind, make sure left and right is left and right. Make sure the rudder, make sure the nose gear, make sure everything's working. And if you fly electric, you have to have a motor cutoff. What that means is you flip a switch and you can move your throttle and nothing happens. You have to arm the motors to fly. Because with electrics, folks, if you're standing in front of it, this is basically a samurai sword. This is a carbon fiber prop. If you happen to bump that with your knee or your hand and it come up and hit you, you're going to be seriously injured. So always have a motor cutoff, okay? Another thing, folks, about flying electric that I absolutely love is just the ability, folks, to go to the field, charge my batteries, plug it into the airplane, and go fly. I don't have to mess around with gas. I don't have to mess around with tuning the engine, any mess. But if you've been a long-time follower of mine, you know without a doubt that I started in Glow and flew 10 or 15 years flying Glow. Love it. Still love Glow. I just think it's a little bit too messy for me. I got a parts tray here and I'm not even putting my parts in it. What a dumbass. Yeah. Number 3, fly what you can handle. Okay, don't jump straight into a 100-mile-an-hour warbird with a really huge wing load with retracts and bomb drops, and then realize when you crashed it, you can't pay your next month rent because you want to replace it before you pay rent. Okay, know what you can handle. And folks, nowadays I've met so many folks. The hobby is really cool right now. I'm meeting people literally in their 70s that are getting into the hobby because electrics are so easy. And again, go back and watch my video about lipos, the myths. Lipos can be extremely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. And what I mean by that, and what my followers point out, when something goes wrong with a lipo, it can go wrong really fast and it can be really volatile because there could be literally thousands of amps drawn on that battery if there's a dead short in a few seconds before the thing catches on fire. So while most clubs, not all clubs, most clubs probably have anywhere from 30 to 70% of their flyers flying electric, and we don't see houses burning down every weekend. We don't see burning down the clubhouse at the field. You have to know what you're doing with electrics, okay? But go watch my other video. I'll put the link of it in the description below on lipos. And actually, I got 2 more videos I'm working on that people have asked me questions about lipos, because I try to answer your questions. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing here, put it in the comments below, okay? So another thing that I love about this airplane is the landing gear has so much travel on it. This plane makes me look a lot better as a pilot than I really am. I mean, this is just, folks, this is just such a cool airplane to fly. And it just bothers me that I've got a bearing squeaking or something in there, and I got to figure out what it is. And it's part of flying airplanes, folks. Just don't send it. If your airplane's doing something wonky and you're like, yeah, I don't know if that's right, just don't take it out on the runway and firewall it. Okay? And another thing about radio setup, always range check your radio. When you first put the whole plane together, put it in that testing mode, which drops the output of the radio down to virtually nothing. Walk the 300 paces or whatever the book tells you, and range check your airplane, but have somebody hold it and turn it 360 degrees while you're range checking it. And then run the throttle up to about a quarter. Make sure someone's holding it or you got it tied down. And then shut your radio off. See if your fail-safe's working. Because that airplane the motor should instantly die and your flying surfaces go to wherever you have your fail-safe set up. It's so important to have your fail-safe working on an airplane. Okay? So, another thing, let's see, what's number 4? Learn to land, not just to fly. I have done a lot of videos, and there's some of my most successful videos on why landing is so hard. And I'm actually working on another video about it because I got some more video footage. And I've learned a lot from what you've all asked since that video came out. And that screw's kind of being a booger at first. But landing is the hardest regiment of flying the airplane. Now, some of you, or any of you that might know what this kit is, you're going to see these little air scoops. I made these out of fiberglass. I built a little plug, made them out of fiberglass, and it is to draw the air that comes in through the air intake into the scoop and force it over the electric motor. When I was first flying this, I was flying some pretty big diameter props because I like the bigger diameter because they're more efficient. But I was still in my amp range of the motor, but at the very top of it. When I landed, you're supposed to have what we call, your mileage might vary. Okay, do not take this as the gospel. I would put my fingers on the motor, and if I could hold it there 5-second rule, it's good enough. It was really hot. The 5-second rule was really close. So I changed the prop diameter, put this air scoop in there, and now the motors are perfect. Okay, but that's another thing you've got to learn about electrics. Folks, when I first started in electrics, it was really difficult because we didn't know which battery, ESC, or motor to use. We just tried it, and if it didn't work, it didn't work. Nowadays, manufacturers are really close, not perfect. When you buy an ARC that already has the ESC and motor in it, it's on them if it doesn't work. And absolutely go after them. Complain. Be polite. Be nice. But if you have a brand new airplane, only get 10 flights on it, and something breaks, don't go to social media. Don't go and run it up the flagpole. Call them directly. Don't email them. Call them. Say, hey, look, I just bought your awesome airplane, and this happened to it. What do I do? If they start to blame you, tell them that they're an a-hole. I can't stand it when the manufacturer always assumes it's us first. Okay? And folks, another thing is, FYI, for a while, I want to say this right. I've been a team pilot once, I think, and it was for a radio manufacturer. And I still fly their radios. I love them. But one reason I won't be a sponsored pilot is if their stuff is shit, I'm not going to lie about it. And then I feel bad if they're like, Damon, fly this airplane. And then I go on social media and say that this thing flew like crap. Then they're all mad at me. I know this is wonky. Just make sure that when you buy something that it works the way it was advertised to work. Okay? So, That motor does not sound right at all. Oh, and I got to change the air scoop and everything on it too. So, I mean, swap it to my other standby motor. And I do have 2 more of those just in case. I love that. This is the Hangar A60-16L. To me, it's one of the best electric motors that's ever been built. It's like 168 kV. I can never find it on here. 16L. It is 168 RPM volts, which I think that's the same as kV, right? I don't know. Oh, another thing. Don't ever, ever work on an electric motor, like which weight's spinning and all of that, with the propeller on it. Okay, if you're first setting something up, I'm trying to get these bullet plugs off because I cram the hell out of those. I don't even like bullet plugs. I like to solder everything if I can, but this is the perfect example why I love having a bullet plug here, because it's going to make it a lot easier to change. Let's see. Everything's free. Okay. Number 5. Keep batteries and fuel in check. Over-discharging LiPos, weak ignition packs, or low fuel tanks have ended more flights than pilot error. Start every flight with good power. Every flight before you good power and boy, I wrote that completely wrong, didn't I? I'm severely dyslexic. If you're one of my longtime followers, you know that. Start every flight with good power and every flight before you push the limits. That still doesn't make sense what I wrote there. Hang on, folks. I'm going to get this motor off. My God, did I use a big old long thread on that one. It's probably the only thing I had in the shop at the time. That's pretty stupid. Holy sheesh. Okay. And understand, folks, that anytime these motors pull huge amounts of amps. Now, these are pulling 67 amps at 12S or 68. My MSL1 pulled 160 amps at 10S, but my MSL2 at 12S pulled 220 amps. That's welding voltages. You can weld. I know I've got a TIG welder and a stick welder, and that's like welding amperage, okay? So you have to respect the amperage gods, because literally, folks, you can set everything on fire if you don't know what you're doing. But another thing is, folks, I got a really cool email from a guy who's almost 80 that said if it was, and I've gotten 3 emails like this, elderly people said if it wasn't for electrics, I would have never got into RC airplanes, because it is simple if you buy the right equipment and you follow the directions. I'm thinking my standoffs, yep, they're going to fall off. But I hate it when my baby's sick, because I was at a fun fly yesterday. Folks, and I'm going to do a video on the club I belong to. It's one of the greatest clubs, and I visit a lot of clubs. All the people are cool. They don't care what you fly. And I got only 2 flights in it before I noticed that this squealing was getting pretty loud, and I'm like, okay, I got to quit flying it. It's a bearing. And then, yeah. What in the heck's going on here? That is not right. Boy, it just doesn't sound right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, this one does turn a lot easier. That is really weird. Well, I'm not even going to check this back bearing right now. I'm just going to swap out the motors. So that's what I'm going to do. So, yeah. Oh, I hate when little things like this happen, but I'd rather it happen on the ground than in the air. Okay, number 6. Fly the plane, not your ego. And folks, this sounds kind of arrogant. I haven't had a lot of crashes, except the ones that are 100% my fault. And I've talked about this before in a video. that essentially I had a little bitty, I think it's called MRC. It was a company, Messerschmitt. And folks, sometimes when you get an airplane that gets 400 or 500 flights on it, had a little 09 engine on it, glow. When you get a whole bunch of flights on the airplane, I don't want to say we get bored with it, but we really just, I guess we don't don't care as much if we destroy it. And I was at the club. This was Elwood back in like 95, probably 95, 94. And at the end of the, we're out in the middle of cornfields. At the end of the right-hand side of the runway is some power lines, like you see if you're driving down some road out in cornfield land. And somebody goes, try to fly between the power lines. And I thought I made it. But the power line came right down the top of the fuselage, cut off the pilot's head, and cut off my vertical stabilizer, and I crashed the plane. I don't blame that on skills. I don't blame that on my radio. I don't blame that on all these other things people blame. I'm honest. If I crash it and it's my fault, I'm going to own up to it. And that was the stupidest thing. It was a spectacular crash, but it was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. Again, I used to fly airplanes inverted down the runway and try to knock over pop cans. Almost crashed a plane yesterday. We had a really neat relay event at the club because we had a fun fly yesterday. And basically, in the relay event, you take off, go around once, come in and land, and you have to taxi off and cross the finish line. Okay? And then as soon as you cross the finish line, somebody holds up like a green flag or a green paddle, and then the next person goes. So there was 2 teams of 3. Folks, I never joined these, but nobody wanted to participate, so I always raised my hand and said, yep, count me in. And I knew we were doomed because it was 2 propeller planes and me with an EDF, my modified Avante, against 3 EDF fighter planes. So I thought, we don't have a chance. The 3 EDF fighter planes flew huge circuits around the pylon. The 2 propeller guys flew so tight. Now I got nervous because I was the last plane. And I thought, oh crap, this is going to come down to me. And I blew it. I cost us the trophy. 100% my fault. So I take off and I'm going like a bat out of hell, completely firewalled. Use a very high C battery because that you can pull more power out of a high C rated battery. And just came around and I was like really excited, but then I come around and I was like, okay, as soon as I'm in base, I'm going to dump full flaps like air brakes, then hit my gear and I'm going to come right in. So I come around base, I'm coming right down the runway, flaps are down, the plane's porpoising really bad because I've never hit full flaps going full throttle before. I'm lucky I didn't blow one of the flaps off it. But out of my nervousness, I flipped the wrong switch for the landing gear. So I get down to about 10 feet, getting ready to flare, and I don't have any landing gear, and I hear somebody yell landing gear. So I'm like, oh my God, I go around. So I'm going to try to do a real quick 360 and then land and then cross the finish line. And folks, I yelled really loud because I was screwing up so bad. I went, oh no, and everybody started laughing as I'm dumping the gear. And this Avante, folks, was flying almost on a stall. And I mean, you could feel it. You could see the wings start to wiggle, and it was porpoising a little bit. And I'm getting the nose down, and I got it firewall, and I'm coming back around at full power. We lost by like 19 seconds. I'm telling you, that go around of mine probably took 19 seconds. So if any of my fellow flyers at the club are following me, I still feel like shit for losing that. But, you know, it was all for fun. But still, we're competitive pilots. But yeah, I really screwed that up. And that really pisses me off because, folks, when I watched my 2 fellow team members, I mean, they flew such a tight circuit. I'm like, holy cow, we could win this thing. And we didn't. But I tell you that Avante is one of the most forgiving ducted fans for EDFs. For me to fly it, literally full flaps. I saw the flaps down. I went to full throttle, and it's wallowing around as the gear's coming down now. And then it come around, and then I went almost off the end of the runway and skid it so hard it went straight up, and then it landed on its wheels, and then I firewalled it, came around, crossed the finish line. And I think it was 19 seconds that we lost it. So, oh well. Well, no, I don't mean oh well. It's just, you know, it's for fun. But it still pisses me off. So, hang on a minute. Oh, that sounds much better. Now, one thing, folks, is I didn't color code my leads here on the motor. I color coded it so I knew what it would be back on the ESC. So I will test this without the propeller to see if it's running forward or backwards, because you know you can just reverse one of the 3 wires. Or you can change it in the ESC, but I prefer to change it in the wires. And what's the next one? Oh yeah, fly the plane out your ego. Showboating low inverted passes before you master orientation usually ends up in a bin full of crashed airplanes. Be confident, but stay humble in the air. Number 7, know the weather. A 10-mile-an-hour crosswind on a big light foamy is a recipe for a cartwheel. Check the forecast, know your limits, and don't let gotta fly today or go fever override common sense. And if you don't know what go fever is what blew the Challenger up. Go fever is what, you know, most of the time when you see something crash, it's that go fever. You got to fly or die. And that really bothers me, folks. And I know I got some slack in here. I hope I don't have to take this boom off, because my leads are pretty short. Nope, it's going to work. Oh, I don't want to hook those up until I put the air scoop on. So let's continue on. Use a spotter or a buddy. If there's a lot of people flying, always have a spotter, okay? Because you don't want to have a midair. Number 9, always stay ahead of the airplane. RC flying is about anticipation. Don't react when your plane is already in trouble. Plan your moves and keep the plane where you want it. Folks, this is one of the most important things about flying model aviation. You want to put the plane where you want it. You don't want it flying you, okay? And then treat every flight like a lesson. Even on perfect flights, think about what you could do smoother, cleaner, or safer. The best pilots never stop learning. So those are my 10 things about being a better pilot. I'm going to have to mess around inside here because I don't like how short some of these leads are here, folks, and I'm not going to make you watch all of that, so I'm going to probably end the video here. But I'm just changing out my motor here, folks, and getting ready to go fly. And, you know, I've got another motor with really long leads on it. I might go down in my shop and just change out the motor with the longer leads if I can't get these leads from the ESC to come out any farther. Because, folks, don't ever force anything. I saw a plane crash one time because the ESC, it's an EDF. Okay, ESC's mounted, the battery's mounted, the plane was really tail heavy. They put the battery all the way to the front, and they literally had the battery pack wires really, really tight. And what happened with the airplane is the guy did some kind of rolling maneuver or something, and when his battery moved just a little bit forward, at least this is what we're surmising, it unplugged it. Because when we found it crashed, one of the 2 wires was definitely unplugged. Now, some people say, oh no, it happened when it hit the ground. It could have. Because everybody wants to blame their radio. It was my radio. It browned out. There's so many people scared to buy different manufacturer radios because they're like, well, I heard that one crash. I heard that one crash. I don't think it's a radio, okay? Knock on wood. Watch my crash be a radio. Well, look, folks, that's it. I don't want to just go on and on with the video. Please, again, like and subscribe and share my videos. And please hit the hype, because that's going to really help me get out to more people like you and grow my channel, okay? So thanks, folks. I hope this was informative. And unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of videos about my Bronco, because this is my new baby. I absolutely love it, and it flies so good. Rock on. Have a great day, folks. And do me a favor. It doesn't matter what you fly. Drones, gliders, parafoils, jets, turbines, any of that stuff. As long as you're flying and you love doing it, ignore all the haters. Because, folks, one of the reasons I have always stuck with this is because we used to have a term called piss and vinegar in the veins. It means you won't give up. Your tenacity, your drive is just exceptional. And, folks, I have survived all the naysayers because I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing it for anybody else. If somebody goes, well, that's an ugly airplane. Great, you know. Or somebody's like, you know, well, Damon, who told you that was an awesome airplane? Your wife. when I was out on a date with her. I'm kidding, folks. But here's the thing. You're doing it for you. That's all that matters. Rock on. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.